Come on. Come on, you can do it. Little laptop, you can do it. I believe in you. Eh? I'm not gonna get my hopes up. I've been hurt too many times. I've been hurt too many times, laptop. Don't do this to me. Come on. Oh, I'm not smart enough to fix this on the fly. I'm not smart enough. I don't have, it's holding. We're holding. That's it. Tight straps get banned, fam. That's the problem. People talk about strap. As soon as the strap talk comes up, that's when the stream hates it. That's when the stream can't handle it anymore. It's too much. Too much triggering material. Oh, man. Box Ross, did I see Greg's post regarding the Wilks formula? If you bulk to 283 kilo and hit 100 pound of the three-less, you world record Wilks. But if you bulked hard to 283, it would be negative. Man, Wilks is a fickle mistress. I think that's a big issue. Jordan, turning off the stream so you can use straps without judgment. If I needed to use straps, man, I wouldn't do it with my conventional deads because my weights are never heavy enough with this where the grip is ever an issue. We're only I would use it on a crazy heavy deadlift, like a sumo pull, like a real pull. Maximum cheatsy doodles engaged. Straps plus sumo. The world isn't ready. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this... Come on, computer. I don't know what it is, guys. It's not the internet. The internet's fine. It's holding. It's definitely my computer. Probably the same issue that's keeping me from being able to edit videos the last couple of days. Last 2 weeks, actually. Oh, boy. If you're 283 kilograms and you have total of 100 kg, you're not a power lifter and your Wilks isn't relevant. Anything you can break the formula, right? With just about anything, you could find a way to break the formula. The middleweight classes, I think the biggest thing to take away is that Wilks can't mean everything because the male middle classes get hit the hardest by it, where like female light classes and male super heavyweight classes are going to benefit the most. So Wilks is a good formula to use in comparison to other people. It's just like weight classes. But it was a formula designed that breaks at a certain point. And I think that's what Greg was pointing out, that when people prioritize and say Wilks is all and the only thing, it's a great tool, but it can't be everything. You have to use some common sense with it. Box Ross, I feel as though there's a massive range of volume I can do and performance doesn't go up or down. In that case, then there might be a range that's going to be beneficial the most that you can find it, but you should be making progress with an amount of volume that you can. There's other variables then that maybe aren't getting assessed. I think that might be something to consider. Have you tracked training volume over the course of your training career and used it to dictate progress? Yes, and now my coaches do that for me. So training volume has been systematically raising over the course of my training life and is very helpful. Jordan, how often do I deadlift? I find that 2 times per week is your max frequency. Am I just being a wuss? I don't think you're being a wuss. I think it depends on the individual, the way that they deadlift, their technique, the weights, the absolute ranges that they use. If you're working with heavy weights a lot of the time, 2 times a week is a fair amount. I only pull twice a week. In the past, have I pulled 3 times a week consistently before? Not really. I don't think I have. Some lifters do, and I don't know many that do though, for any extended period of time. Jordan wanted me to use the garage sale hooks for a warm-up set. No, I'm not gonna give you guys the satisfaction. You're trying to see me in pain, like emotional pain. Speed with 315 was sweet. Now replicate it with 585. No, because that was a bad rep. My position was poor because I rushed it. I'm a slow puller, not because I can't move the weight fast, but because it's better to move it slowly if that's how you can hold your positions. Especially on conventional. I don't care how fast my conventional pull looks. You dingus. Trying to elicit bad behaviors. That's actually usually a pretty good gauge of how the night's going to go, because that was double overhand without the hook and felt decent. So that's where I expect that to feel like. That's maybe a bad a bad way to say it. Normally I warm up to 405 double overhand without the hook to work on my grip strength, to save my thumbs and to not have to switch over to the over-under as early. And for the past few weeks, because this session is directly after my high volume squat session and high volume bench session, like the next day, I've been getting more worn out and my grip has been suffering. So that's the first time in a couple weeks where it felt that comfortable and I haven't had to slip the hook in. So I'm a wuss as well then. You guys aren't a wuss. Two times deadlift frequency is already better than most Western lifters. Most Western lifters do not pull. They have a deadlift day. I think that they could benefit from pulling twice. I think 3 times is, I mean, if you need it to get better, like if you need that, you can make an argument for it to become necessary and increasing your frequency to get more overall weekly volume. I don't think most lifters are at a point where that would be beneficial for them. If you're asking the question, you probably don't need to pull 3 times a week. You would generally know. If finding the volume is my problem, is there seems to be a huge range. There's a huge range probably, but you need to look at your intensities and like the recovery windows and things that you're doing too. Honestly, and it's going to sound like a self-promotion to suggest this, but honestly, in most cases, when you run into a problem with programming for yourself, looking for a coach is a helpful tool. Whether it's me or whether it's someone else, finding someone else to help you work through it, someone who can be vouched for and has had success as a coach before, can be very beneficial in finding how to work through issues when you have a huge range of volume that you can handle, and finding out what you need to work on to get better. Just, that's my opinion, I guess. Robert, if you started a donation box, is there an amount of money that would make you consider pulling with the hooks? Because I will pay it for the sake of internet glory. Oh man, maybe down the road. Maybe down the road we'll get a. No man, I don't wanna be the monkey that's dancing for your cheap money, even though it would probably be helpful with paying for things. Who knows? I don't want to be the guy who's like, where there's someone who pops up in the chat and they're like, oh, streamer, do a thing that's self-degrading and make you feel bad about yourself for us to giggle and laugh. I'm not going to be that guy. We'll hang out, we'll talk, I'll do the things, but I don't know if it would be worth the money to do that to myself. To shame myself by pulling with straps and having it filmed. Ugh. I'd never be able to sleep. Jordan, you feel the barbell hip thrusts are redundant in the absence of glute hamstring weakness? Would it be prudent to include them regardless in terms of deadlift strength? I abused the barbell hip thrust for a long time. Was not a great idea for me because I wasn't able to control it. I think that Brett Contreras has some really good research and some really good articles about it, and I would recommend him, the glute guy, as a resource for that particular movement. I think that you don't need as much weight to do it well. And I think that if you're looking for something to work on your glutes directly, and that's a real weakness for you, to focus on doing your pulls, and then it can be an option. I have them included in my program, so my coaches believe in them at least to some degree. Box Ross, pulling 3 times per week for practice worked for me. They were only singles, though. That's how I think most people would do it. It's like submaximal singles as an opportunity to work on your technique. Once your technique gets pretty dialed in, I don't know. Doing 3 times a week pulling for like volume and actually like trying to get real workloads and work capacity up, I don't know how many people would need it. But again, I wouldn't poop on someone's idea and tell them to never try it because I know everything. Sometimes it may be beneficial, and if it works for you and you are able to find that out, then awesome. But don't feel bad for not pulling 3 times a week, I guess, is what we're trying to get to. Eric, how much to spit in your mouth, streamer? Oh man, more than you got, son. Self-degrading. Wow. Did straps somehow ruin your childhood? No, but they ruin everybody else's deadlifts. Boom. Wow. Headshot. That's it. I don't want to tank my deadlifts just so you guys can giggle because straps. That's it. Jimmy, thanks for helping me quit pre-workouts, Ben. It has messed my sleep up so bad over the past 5 years and affected my ability to attend early classes. Does your stomach feel like it's getting destroyed on the Raise Rogue machine? Raise Rogue machine. I do not have a Raise Rogue machine. I do not know of which of you talk. Jordan, ouch. Yeah, that's right. Boom. Box Ross squat volume has been the main driver in my deadlift progress with submax deadlift singles mixed in. I've heard that helping for people. Glute ham raise, the Rogue glute ham raise. I don't have one, so I don't think. If you guys see one back here, that would be a pretty exciting thing. But I definitely don't have one to use. I would like one. I'd like a glute ham machine. So no, I do not have a glute ham machine, and so my tummy cannot hurt on one. Or maybe it can. I just don't have one to know for sure. Izzy, you're going to skip legs today? Oh, man. I hope you have a good reason. You don't never skip leg day, bro. Unless you have a valid reason. In which case, do what your doctor would tell you. All right, let's just do this first set because there's no reason not to. I'm definitely rested enough. Almost as bad as you've had a stressful week and your legs haven't recovered. I mean, let's not turn this into a chat of bullying people because they need to make good training decisions that are going to be about longevity. So you're going to enjoy your bench sets. There you go. Do that. Enjoy the bench sets. My squat workout last night was awful. I had to rest 30 minutes in between my 4th and 5th sets. I don't remember the last time that because on Saturday, I didn't tell anybody this, or at least officially. So Friday I did my workout so that I could go and had an a cappella gig Friday night I stayed at my girlfriend's house and was exhausted, went to bed at 11, and then woke up at 1 o'clock. And I was up from 1 a.m. until 2 a.m. the next night. So I was up for 25 straight hours and felt okay after I slept regularly the next day. But then my 40 working reps of squat last night were the worst feeling working reps of squat I think I've done in 5 years. It was so horrible. weight wasn't crazy. It was 5 sets of 8 with 445, and within the first set, I was already just kind of going, oh no. So AZ, I can totally understand what you mean by not having it, and it took me almost 2 hours just to get through my 5 sets of squat, just because it was so. I was sweating profusely, not even because I was hot. I was shaking. It was a bad day. It was a bad day. I'm glad that you guys didn't have to witness that. That was real pain. That was like pulling with straps for a lot. It's just the amount of pain that I had to go through. Jimmy, have I ever seen a high bar squat that broke a world record? Eric Lillybridge, I think, used to squat high bar, but then he switched to low bar and he squatted more. So there's a lot of Olympic weightlifters who would probably be able to do unofficial records, but they'd have to walk the bar instead of popping it off their shoulders at the end. Bryce, John, and Ray all have, I'd say, medium bar squats. They're not true high bar squatters. Oh man, I'm trying to stretch my back out, not just twerk at the deadlift bar, so it leaves me alone. Maybe a little bit of that. Boxstress, what do I think about the U.S. Open? I think it was a huge event and great for the lifters that were able to come away with some money. I think that that's something in the sport that's a positive direction. I think it's unfortunate that the stream was dropping about as many times as mine has tonight, but people were paying to watch it. I think that was really unfortunate, and I really wish that wouldn't have happened, because I wanted that to be super successful and not have anything that would be bad. Ben, did I just twerk? No, I wiggled. I wiggled with it. I'm 4 or 5 weeks out and doing low bar pauses and high bars, and low bar is my comp squat. How do I transition to specifically 4 or 5 weeks out? Oh boy. So you get an idea where I'm coming from. I don't change high bar to low bars. How do I go about volume? Are you used to, are you changing from like I've never done low bars to now I'm going to start doing low bars 4 or 5 weeks out? Because if that's the case, don't do it. If that is the case, maybe half and half. Cut your squat volume in half, do half of it from low bar for the first week, half of it still from high bar, and then the next week just slowly start with cutting it in half and then slowly start trending towards your competition stance. If there is a lot of carryover, then you'll be able to do it. Zahir might squat high bar? I don't know. Just to the deadlift bar. You're saving that? Oh no! Problems. No, you are a low bar squatter. Divier? I think it's Divier. Yeah, I would say that's the way I'd go about it. Would be to start cutting your volume of the high bar squats and transferring it over to low bar. That's what I would do if I was in that position. All right, I need to do an actual working set. We got a little bit distracted with me twerking and talking about straps and the stream dying 4 times. $505 on the bar, 5 by 5 here. Let's see how this first one feels. Hopefully good. Hopefully good. Did not feel that bad. I hope I actually did 5. I'm terrible at counting when I'm lifting weights. Iron Dead Clash Royale. Ben, my deadlift is the same weight as my squat. You think I'm doing something wrong? Not necessarily. My buddy Ben Seath was a really gifted squatter. He loved that lift more. He's built for it. He has short arms, not great leverages for the deadlift, and his squat is better than his deadlift, like by hundreds of pounds. So there are some people who that's just the case. If you wrap your knees on the squat, some people can have that. When I was competing with my knees wrapped, my squat was getting a lot closer to being equal with my deadlift. Now that's not the case, but I don't think it's really abnormal. There's a lot of things that could factor into that. So don't feel like you're necessarily doing something wrong. Keep pushing both lifts and get the most you can out of each. Whew. Lordy. That was 156. Did we really just take... Took a while. Took an hour to get that first set in. Tommy Boy, good night. Always rooting. Not just powerlifting. No. Hey man, we know each other online now. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. Stop by next time. We'll be doing this again Saturday. Probably Saturday evening. Saturday late afternoon, evening is the goal. Robert, those sets were too much cardio for Ben? Nah, not really. It's hard to sit down and go into talking, especially when I get on a roll. I run out of breath sometimes. Brendan Sutherland, what time is it there? It's currently 2:02. So rest in peace, neighbors. I'll try not to slam the weights down. This is later than I would normally deadlift. Kind of an extreme circumstance of not being able to start until as late as I did. But my girlfriend is having surgery at the end of this week, and so I'm gonna go up and take her to the doctor and take care of her on Friday. So I can't let myself get pushed back on my workouts. So Tommy will do, yeah. Jordan, do you usually train this late, and do you find it beneficial personally to train later in the day? I don't normally train this late. This is abnormal. I was gone all day. I didn't get home until after 10 o'clock, and then I had a lot of kind of gunk I had to roll out. I rolled out on the barbell in the rack for a little while to get myself moving, and then it's been 2 hours. We started benching literally 2 hours ago. So it's not the stream's fault. I did not feel good and ready and excited for this session, and so I needed to take the time to get it done, and I think this is let me see. What time do I normally go to 2 a.m.? Yes. What time do I normally go to bed? I normally would try to be in bed at 12:30. Recently, ever since I moved, my sleep schedule has been absolutely off the rails, and like I said, on Saturday, I was up from 1 a.m. Saturday morning until almost 2 a.m. Sunday morning. So I was up for 25 straight hours, so my sleep schedule is non-existent right now. And I'm going to try and reset it. No matter what time I finish this, I'm going to wake up around 9:30 tomorrow. And my goal, normally if everything's working perfectly, my goal would be to go to bed at 12:30 and to wake up at 8:30. I got in a habit of doing that when I was back in Ellensburg, and then the move and everything else has kind of shaken me from that. And I haven't been able to stabilize because even on my days, normally I would just force my way of resetting my sleep schedule is to force myself to wake up early. But if I wake up early and didn't get enough sleep on a day that I have a workout, that can negatively affect my workout, and that ends up being dangerous. It's not so much I don't want to have a bad workout. It's if I have a bad workout with some of the loads that I handle, and I'm not able to focus and pay attention, then I could hurt myself. And so I try to avoid that. And all of my off days for the past 3 or 4 weeks, I've been going somewhere and haven't been able to force myself to get up and be on track in terms of my schedule. So I would not recommend training at 2 a.m. I've done it in the past. I've had late night sessions. This isn't the latest I've ever trained. Ideally, I would like to work out in either the early morning or the early afternoon, because those are the times when I would have meets. And I think it's better to be used to that. At the same time, at Nationals this last year, I think I had a big advantage because it was pretty late. Atlanta, Georgia, it was 7 or 8 o'clock when some of the people were lifting, and they're all on a weird time schedule and stuff. And for me, I'm used to lifting that late. So, Martin, any tips for wrist pain when pressing? I think my wrist position is fine, almost straight, but I have developed pain directly in my right wrist, not forearm. Do you wrap your wrists? Because you should. I think that there's no real negative to wrapping your wrist, especially for preventative reasons with wrist pain. And if that's not the case, then maybe the way that the bar is angled in your hand could be beneficial to line it up more, regardless of your wrist angle. If the bar is angled over the wrist, it can help with that. So yeah. Zach, 2 a.m. deadlift sessions are the best ones, man. Yeah, it honestly does feel better with the stream. Last week I had a pretty late night deadlift session, and I thought that having the stream on, I don't know, my mental energy, I was less able to get down on myself and be in a negative headspace, and that usually is the biggest difference for my deadlifts. Squats they'll feel awful no matter what, but deadlifts, they can feel better if I'm in a positive place. Thomas, Rice Cake Army. Oh, goodness. That army thing. That used to be the cool thing to do. I think we're all just internet friends, man. Robert Pauling, I feel very upset with Ben with the paying for the hooks thing. Did you pay? Or you want to pay and it's not going to happen? I'll leave them right here. Can you guys see that? You'll see it. Look at that little hook. It's just going to live right here just to see. I'm above this. I don't need this. I won't use this. Hungover deadlift sessions or MVP. Brendan, do I play video games? I do, but currently, if I'm not even able to manage my sleep schedule, just working, like being awake and doing the things that I normally do, I can't really afford the time at this moment to be getting to play as many video games as I would like. I'm a big Dark Souls fan. I'm a big Call of Duty fan. So those are the games that I tend to play. Maybe in the future it'd be fun if we end up switching to Twitch or something. I like watching Dark Souls 3 no-hit runs. Those are my favorite video game content to watch, that and then watching competitive League of Legends. But who knows? I'm not good enough to do it and have it be like, oh, come watch me play video games because I'm good. It'd be like, come watch Ben get killed over and over again in Dark Souls. Do you think similar lifter as Divvy, do you think that smaller lifters, as in 66 to 83, maybe 93.2, should drop volume a little later? A lot of the time smaller lifters, because you're not handling as much absolute load, can handle a little bit more volume for longer in a training block. But again, it's super individual. There's big lifters who can hold more volume. There's little lifters who can't handle as much or don't need as much. So it's really tough to make blanket generalizations just based on someone's size and not on their actual lifting history. Boxer House, this may be a dumb question, but is 2 a.m. in the U.S. same as 2 a.m. in Australia? Do you guys wake up around 6 to 7 a.m.? Most work starts from 8:30 and finish 5 to 6 p.m. 2 a.m. is really, most people have gone to bed by now. I think the the American dream, the job usually for most people is 9 to 5 or like 8 to 4. I think that's the standard work day. And 6 to 7 a.m. sounds a little early for most Americans that I know. So my girlfriend wakes up and goes to her job at like 4 in the morning. So when I visit her, we wake up real early. In Latvia, it's 12:06 right now. Must be late there. Yeah, it's 2:10 in the morning here, 2:10 a.m. Everyone, my whole family is asleep. AZ, what's the purpose of the hooks? To feel real bad about yourself. No, it's a lifting strap. It's a strap you put it around your wrist, and the hooks latch onto the bar. I got these at a garage sale when I was like 15. I never use them, but I have them. Carlos, Ben, you're my hero. Hey, man, thanks. I appreciate that greatly. I don't think of myself as a hero. I think of myself as a normal dude, and other people can find joy in what they're doing, and if they find it through me having joy in what I'm doing and sharing it with them, then that's awesome, and that's what I want in life. So thank you for the kind words. No, I don't, Robert. I don't mean to degrade you because you mentioned. I know, man. I'm messing around too. I know you're joking. Basha, this may be a dumb question, but it's 2 a.m. Oh, I read that. Brennan, get that Overwatch going. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't really turned on to watching Overwatch. I was real excited when it was announced, and a lot of the League of Legends streamers that I like started playing it. I don't personally see the appeal. I also wasn't huge on Team Fortress 2, which is, I think it's really similar to that. That wasn't the kind of shooter I really enjoyed playing or watching. So, Manu, do I play on Xbox, PC, or PlayStation? I have a PlayStation 4, but I haven't even set it up. I've lived here for like 3 weeks now and have yet to set that up in my room. So I have an Xbox 360, but it's pretty hit or miss. I've had it for years. My girlfriend bought me a PlayStation 4. Eric, who do you watch? People like Lobos Jr. then? I was just watching some of Lobos' stuff. I like Faraz Khan, Colby Cheese, The Happy Hob, Squillakilla. Those are my favorite Dark Souls streamers. And I think Lobos is pretty fun. He has so much content, it's impossible to get through. Thomas, who's your pick to win 105s at Worlds? Oh, man. The top 4, I like all of them. Garrett and Bryce are personal friends, and I want them to both have their best possible days. I think Vicky is insane, and I want to see him do something crazy on his deadlift. I think that Screamer is a really fun personality, and he's a nice guy, and I met him in person. I hope everybody who's at Worlds has their best day, and whoever's best day is the best day is what I want to see happen. So I don't have I think based off of the nomination totals and off of what I know about those lifters and what they're going to be bringing, I think it'll be closer than it looks by the nomination totals. But I couldn't call it. It's going to be close, and it should be a really good matchup. David, your favorite non-fitness YouTube channel? Box, it's noon in Israel now. About to go to Squat for lunch. Squat for lunch? That sounds fun. Non-fitness YouTuber. Who do I watch? Watch a lot of... I'm really upset SourceFed ended because I like a lot of their content. Man, I spend so much time on this website. It's a little bit ridiculous, honestly. Yeah, I try to vary my content intake for YouTube. So there are many non-lifters that I watch. I probably watch... I watch very few fitness YouTubers anymore. That used to make up a large percentage of my content that I would watch, but now I watch mostly other things. Video Game Donkey. Probably my favorite, just because I think his style of video is really fun. I think Donkey is Dark Souls. I love just about everything he does, and he's a lot less PG than I am as a personality. But yeah. All right, another set. We're gonna do this. Slow but consistent. I feel like these are real Real manageable tonight. Way more manageable than last night's squats were, for sure. Class is stacked. Yeah, it is, Tom. Super stacked 105s this year. Nationals is going to be pretty crazy, too. There's a lot of people going. I'm going to do my best, but there are a lot of really, really strong lifters. All right. Robbie's in Croatia, 11:11 a.m. Oh, man. See, the late night streams work for something. I get to hang out with some of you guys I wouldn't normally get to. Who knows? Jordan, how much risk of injury do you think there is from benching with a wide grip? For a non-competitive lifter, do you think strength benefits for a long arm guy outweigh the risks? For a non-competitive lifter, I think you shouldn't bench press. I think you should find other things that are probably going to be more beneficial and safer. The bench press is super just bad for you. If I didn't have to do it, I would find other lifts to do instead. Divi, what's your take on the devil's lettuce, aka cannabis? Do I use it? I live in a state where it's legal. I don't personally use it. In terms of drugs and alcohol, I have a feeling this will come up on the stream a lot. Just not for me, not something I've ever been interested in. All the guys in my a cappella group, use marijuana. I think that you should have a right to make the decisions about what you do with your own body. I don't have a real personal stance in terms of marijuana use. My good friend Zach McCarley is he graduated with a master's in chemistry from Central Washington University, and he works at he does like chemical testing and quality control for cannabis and marijuana like distributors out here in Washington. And I have a lot of respect for him, so if he doesn't feel a moral issue going into a field that works on it, I trust his ethical judgment. And so I think most of my opinion on that is based off of my trust in my friend Zach McCarley. 9:12 p.m. here in New Zealand. If you need to know what the future is like, let me know. Oh, man. Who wins the North American LCS championship? Does TSM pull it out? Thomas, Team New Zealand over here. Look at that. You guys, the Kiwis. That was probably more Australian. I don't even know. Never mind. It's too late here for me to do accurate impressions. Keen to travel to New Zealand for a ski trip this year. Oh man, I'd just go to all the places that they film Lord of the Rings and just see. You guys have a pretty country. Tommaso Paoli, favorite meal? Ooh, probably steak. A well cooked, not like a well done, but like a steak that is cooked very well and seasoned very well. Richard Jones, tips to prevent binge eating at nighttime. Good. That's a problem a lot of people have. Step one would be to eliminate the amount of food that you're tempted to just eat. Like get it out of your environment. Don't buy snacky stuff that doesn't fit into your diet, and then maybe to plan your meals out. And if you, at least until you're more consistent with your self-control, and then view it as an exercise in self-control. I think in the past I've done something like I put up a whiteboard, and I have tick marks. And anytime I come to one of those kind of decision points of I want to do this thing that I shouldn't do, and I know that I shouldn't do it, you have the side that's I stuck to my plan, I made the decision based off of my values, and then you have the other side is I gave in to temptation, and I put whatever this feeling is right now above my values. And just every time you come to one of those choices, put a little tick mark in whichever one's appropriate. And then it may not fix the problem right now, but when you're looking back on what kind of every week or every month, you look back and see what kind of choices you were making and it's a really good indicator of how committed you are to what you think your goal is, because it's okay to not have the goal of strength training, right? It's okay to not want to be a bodybuilder, but if you tell yourself that you want to be one and your actions are consistently not lining up with that, then you need to have that conversation with yourself about what you really want, and that's the case. So I hope that helps. That's something that's helped me in the past, with struggling with things that I feel like I shouldn't do, and then I'm tempted to do them anyway. Jordan, if you're coming here just to ski, oh, you're not talking to me, okay. Yesterday a guy came to me while I was deadlifting and said if I'm not trying to compete, then I should always use straps. Good that he didn't come to you. I would have less of a problem with someone. Again, my biggest problem was when people have general blanket statements like that, because I think that having a stronger grip is always beneficial in life. I think you're going to have, it's nice to never have to worry about opening a jar. I will always be able to. The biggest issue I have when people bring up strap use is when they're making arguments for a competitive powerlifter. It just does not make sense to me to remove one of the biggest limiting factors from your training protocols. So, just... Carlos, in your honest opinion, what do you think the adaptation time to be proficient in the hook grip is? I think that positionally, the hook grip almost immediately will be a better position for most lifters. I think that it really comes down to your own personal tolerance of pain and adjusting to the discomfort. And that is different for most people, but I think that if you're the kind of person who can push yourself into that discomfort area and kind of live there a little bit more, then it's going to be faster for you. For me, I made the switch very quickly because I'd used a long approach of like implementing it for years, and probably like 7 or 8 years where I've done some warm-up sets with it, or I've implemented it in my normal training, just not in my top sets. And then eventually I said, I'm going to commit to just trying this for my top sets. And it ended up being the first time I pulled over 650 with the hook grip, I pulled 760 with the hook grip with the suit on. So that was the first session that I'd ever gone over, and I did that. So after a certain point, it doesn't hurt more. It just hurts, and that's it. I think if you, when Bryce from Calgary Barbell, he's been using the hook grip. Once he pulled his first 700 with the hook, I told him I don't think it's going to hurt much more than that. I think it's going to hurt about that. So if you can pull 700, you can pull anything with it, as long as your fan doesn't, your hand, your finger and your hand don't fall off in the process. Manu, Ben, do you come from a family who are strength training sports oriented? Nope. I come from the opposite. I come from a very musical family. I do not come from a sports-based family. I think that's one of the reasons it took me so long to do what I've done. And I think my family has been very supportive throughout my entire journey in doing this. But I would not say that my parents come from a really athletic background. They did some sports. They did some sports when they were younger, but that's not, when I have kids someday, their dad is a power lifter. My dad's a musician and a great speaker and an influencer of people's minds and hearts. And I think that I get a lot of things from my parents. In terms of my personality, I do not think that my interest and or aptitude for sports is something that I got that from. Robert, isn't marijuana legal still under the WADA test? Probably. Charles, are you going to lift during the stream? Okay, called out. Yeah. I don't know if you're trolling me because I'm taking so long, or if you're asking an honest question. I'm supposed to be lifting. But I enjoy these talks too. So we're going set 3, 505 on the bar, third set of 5. So far they've been feeling really, really comfy in terms of capability. So let's see if we can keep that up. A little too close. still super comfy. All right. Uchiha Mandara, how heavy did you push deadlifts on your Bulgarian program? I was squatting 5 days a week. I would deadlift once or twice, and I do a couple singles in the low to mid 600s. At the time, I was using a deadlift bar, I think. Was I? No, I wasn't. At the time, I was still using a stiff bar, and I think my best pull on a deadlift bar was around 740. So in the low to mid sixes. They didn't feel good at the time. I know I do barely any volume at all. If you try sometimes, my training next day is good. How about lettuce and watch some league with, well, hi. I'm just not interested in it, honestly. I don't have any desire. Some people are like curious, like, oh, I don't want to go through life without experiencing certain things. That's good for them. I am fine with going through life without experiencing other things that don't line up with the things that I've chosen that I want to work on and experience, and any kind of... I get real nervous anytime something would potentially alter my mental state, because I like to be... And I know it's not the same thing as like being drunk or having something that severely takes you out of your personal self-agency, but it's really not something I'm interested in. So I appreciate the recommendation, though. Steak Craigasm for sure. Pretty people too. Robbie, what's the biggest reason you're lifting or you started lifting? When I started lifting, I was 10 years old. So I just wanted to be bigger and stronger. I was just really I was really attracted to the idea of becoming better. And it's still in my personality whenever I get into something. One of the reasons I can't play video games the way I would like to play video games is because I don't play them for fun. I play them for like mastery. And the pursuit of mastery ever since I was very young, of just like getting to the highest level that I could at whatever I was doing, has really been a driving factor in my life. And I think that weightlifting for me is a good opportunity to build myself up as a person and my ability to fight through, and it's changed over the years. I used to care a lot more about my numbers and how other people thought of me, but I think now I see it as being beneficial to my life and living a better life, and finding fulfillment in setting goals and fighting to overcome them and running into obstacles and celebrating the things I'm not good at because they are opportunities to get better. When you have something you're really good at, it takes a lot of work to get better at that thing. When you find something you're terrible at, usually progress comes a lot quicker. So just it's shaped my entire worldview over the 17 years I've been doing this. And I think at a certain point, it's generally healthy. I think when you get to past that point, and you're like an elite level lifter, healthy isn't really the main concern anymore. But I still think you can find value in what we do. Wonderbomb, how much do you focus on keeping your thoracic spine flat? I've been given the advice that I should keep scapula in the back pockets, but when I do, I get shorter arms and usually a worse setup. Think this way. Okay? Think back. There's your back pockets. Back and down. That engages the lats. It puts the shoulders down. And that is going to allow you... Because if you're thinking back pockets like this, yeah, that will shorten your arms. This is a longer arm position. If you're going like that, that actually screws you up. Your starting position ends up horrible, and that's when people get stuck. So back, like if someone's hand is on the back of the middle of your back, crush the hand, try to pull it down, arms straight, and that will set up your T-spine. And then focus on your core stability and normal, like the biggest problem with thoracic spinal flexion is when you go from a neutral spine to you lose that neutrality during the lift under load. Wherever you set, as long as you can maintain whatever that angle is, generally that is pretty safe. But the more you can maintain a neutral spinal position throughout your entire spine, the less likely you're going to encounter injury. It's still possible because you're loading the spine, but it lowers that likelihood. Thanks for the strap guy. Dude, the guy was a good lifter in his days, late 20s now. Yeah, I'm not. Just mean powerlifting not on YouTube. So you're making no sense. You're so honest. All the love to you. Yeah, and I try to be honest with you guys. Charles, I asked an honest question. I'll never watch your vids before. Found out by accident. I'm sorry if I. It was a good question, and whether or not it was trolly or calling me out or an honest question, it was helpful because I needed to do a set. I was taking too long. So, welcome, Charles. Thank you for stopping by. I hope I didn't scare you off. But yes, I'm supposed to be deadlifting while I'm talking, or not while I'm talking. I'm supposed to deadlift intermittently during the talks. But this is an extended workout because I definitely did not feel like doing it. So I needed to do it. I can't get off my schedule, even if it's throwing off my sleep schedule even more. Mano Ben, do you have any videos on the system you use for avoiding night binge and so on? The point tick thing you were mentioning. If not, is it something that works for the future? I talked about that specifically last year before this year in a video about I took some time off from making videos a couple of years ago, and then I started making them again, and I started with a series that I was discussing like New Year's resolutions, and that was one of the tips I used in a resolution video, I think, to try and help people become more consistent with like setting goals that are measurable instead of being general. And but that's a ways back, so I wouldn't be. There's a chance that someone could have been following me for at least a year and still not have seen that. Yaha Al-Assad, when does one stop being a novice? Is it based on your training years or how much you lift? It's based on your recovery and adaptation phase. It's a novice lifter is someone who the term is terrible because the term discourages people from staying there and they try to go to like an intermediate or an advanced type of program too early before they need to. You want to be a novice lifter. A novice lifter means that you can progress within a week. It means that from workout to workout, you're able to do the same thing with a marked improvement, or from week to week, you're able to do the same thing with a marked improvement. A lot of novice programs have you doing something like a 5x5, where at the end of each week, you'll increase the weight. And so you can continue that increase. And so you can go in and do like a maximum attempt, like give your full effort to something. And then it's associated with being so inexperienced with the lift or so inexperienced with that stimulus that you have your skill at that is accelerated because you're learning so much in that initial bump, kind of like the beginner gains feeling, where you'll do something and you will you're able to, within the course of a week, within that microcycle, you can go from an all-out maximum effort attempt of something to being able to repeat and improve on it within that same week. An intermediate between 2 weeks to like 8 or 9 weeks, I think, is a good idea, or a good range for what would classify an intermediate lifter. Even to the higher end, it's a much broader spectrum. And then an advanced lifter is someone who takes months and months of working very hard to be able to see any noticeable progress. It's literally about how the time it takes from the stimulus and the adaptations actually taking effect so that you can improve on your best. That's what novice, intermediate, and advanced lifters are really being defined as, but it's so much easier to say those terms. But I think those terms are misleading and encourage people to make decisions that don't fit their lifting of classification. So I hope that helps. Jordan, would you rather drink alcohol, smoke the devil's lettuce, or use straps? Hypothetically, of course. I would rather do none of those things. Oh no. Strim, no. Don't do it. Not again. We're doing so good. Oh man, I might have to close the OBS again. Maybe it's just telling me I need to lift more. That's it. All right. We'll get another set ready to go because I don't want the stream to die again while we're in the middle of a conversation. No! Don't do it. Don't do it, stream, please. Oh, it's killing me. I'm watching it go from red to green, and it's breaking my heart every time. Okay, we're gonna do another set. Oh my goodness. It's my computer. Still better than a USPA stream. Oh man. Still better than a USPA stream, you guys. You're killing me. Oh my god. PDBRE, LOL and MOBAs in general are mastery games anyway. They're not very fun inherently. That is why they are free. If someone is playing a MOBA and is not way above average, he or she is wasting their time. Fair enough. If you find joy in what you're doing though, PDBRE, then you can find fulfillment in that. I think that you can use a MOBA or a game that is mastery based just like you can use weightlifting to set goals and overcome them and work on your mental resilience. So I don't think there's as much intrinsic value in it, but I think most of the things we do at a certain point become a level of, we add ascribed value to what we're doing. Divier, do you notice good carryover doing conventional deadlift to sumo? When I'm patient with my conventional and I focus on positions and I focus on actually improving and not rushing the progress and rushing the weight on the bar and everything, then I feel like I can get some benefit from it. I think that, you have to learn to push yourself through positioning improvements and not focus on just what weight's on the bar with your variant movements like this. And that's something that's taken me a long time to accept. And so I tend to not push the weight on my conventionals. And I think that that's been helping me more than when I used to pull more conventional and had less carryover. Jordan, do you ever time your rest periods to try to reduce them as a form of progressive overload? I time them just so I can keep myself accountable, and in the future I try to not get super out of hand. I will say that my rest periods when I'm streaming are definitely extended, and that's something I have to work on. Tonight specifically, I'm not worrying about it. A few of the streams we've had before I've gotten myself distracted. This one, I'm moving slow because I would be moving slow whether or not I was streaming, because I was really tired and beat up from yesterday and it was a really late thing and I'm just kind of hanging out and the work is just happening. So recently I was stuck at about a 200 kilo squat and increased volume, and in 4 weeks hit a 22-pound PB or PR by hitting 5 pounds every week. Novice thing, I suppose, very similar to deadlift. I still can't get over, still better than a USPA stream. Robert, do you think he planned the OBS crash so he could use straps and we wouldn't see? You guys are killing me. You're killing me with this. Trust me, if I was ever going to use those grip destroyers, I would do it on something way more challenging than a 505 conventional deadlift. Alex, I guess a similar vein, do you think volume above 60%-ish is the end-all be-all, or are you just manipulating frequency intensity without having less volume to continue progress? Oh, you asked another question first. Sorry, I need to... Hey Ben, did you find that after doing Shako Smolov that you had to maintain the same amount of volume, or you could still make progress without emulating the same amount of volume? My answer to that is that my progress really stalled. After doing it and removing that stimulus, I took some steps back, and the only real continued gains, the only real thing that I took away from that was that I had so much extra practice with the lifts from just doing the same thing over and over and over again. In terms of Smolov, Shako, I still do more volume than I was in similar fashions. It's just the way it's set up. It seems very extreme, but that's a lot. Shako is a lot more similar to what I'm doing now, just with some higher rep, even lower intensity sets. I rarely work in the 80% range for most of my volume work. on my squats and deads. Jordan, I think you wanted to know how. You guys, you're killing me, Smalls. P-Bree, there is a difference. Lifting can easily be a personal thing. You don't have to compare yourself to others, not a team effort. And MOBAs, you're playing with people against you. It gets toxic. Agreed. It's a toxic environment. People take things personally, especially when mastery's involved. And that's, as a fan, I wish that wasn't as true as it is, because I like watching competitive league. But those people are also the highest form. They're the most elite at the craft that they've chosen. And I have an extreme and insane amount of respect for anybody who is at the top of their, who is elite in their craft. I think because it takes a lot of work to do it. And I'm even more impressed because whether because of the time that I couldn't commit to it or whatever, I can see how much more skill I would need to be able to be competitive in those situations. But I can outbench them all, I guess. And I'm a bad bencher, so boom. Take that. Bjergsen. I'm just kidding. Bjergsen is bae. Divier, same with me. If I really focus on good form doing conventional, that really carries over just by doing 315 for quality volume has really helped me deadlift. Go up to 535. It just isn't cool to lift 315 to 350 for reps. Yeah, I mean, it's all relative too, right? Like I can, for that grid league challenge I did a couple months back, I just put on a deadlift bar and pulled 635 for 3 in under 10 seconds, then 655 conventional. And I could do that. My conventional is much stronger now than it was then. And, but I still am working here with 500 pounds and just doing quality reps and resetting and focusing on positions and core tension and spinal neutrality and building and activating the way that I want to be. So, Robin, did you find that training equipped for the Arnolds had carry over to your raw deadlift? Training equipped was the big thing that pushed me to actually use my hook grip, because I kept losing the bar forward. When I would get in the suit and had to pump my hips down really hard, I would push my left underhand forward, and so it forced me to switch to the hook grip, and I think that was the biggest difference. Also, it made me feel much more confident with heavier weights because I was working above my raw pull ranges so much more frequently. So I think that was the biggest thing. I don't think it was so much about overload. I think it was switching to the hook grip and being confident in that I wouldn't I don't think that confidence is necessary for capability and for performance. If you're able to do something, you can do it whether you're confident in it or not. But when you have a lack of confidence that gets in your head and causes you to make uncharacteristic mistakes, that's when a lack of confidence is a problem. So I lost that lack of confidence. I just started to treat weights above 700 pounds like they were just any other thing, and I would treat them like I treat all of my other sets. And so that kind of leveled out my consistency. That combined with the hook grip, I think, was the biggest difference. So, good question, though. Very good question. Timo Yako Kusisto. Yo, Ben, how often you do deload weeks? Plan deloads just before a meet or when I'm so beat up that I absolutely need one and have to adjust my training. I don't plan them very often. And one thing that does happen is my coaches give me my programming in about 4-week blocks. And usually the first week of each of those is a little bit less extreme than the 4th week of the previous block. So it's not like a full deload because it's still, I'm not severely reducing everything, but it kind of trends up, then goes down a little bit, then trends up, then goes down a little bit, then trends up. And that allows me to adequately recover and be able to keep progressing without having too many issues. And for my own lifters, I deload them depending on how long it takes them to peak for a meet. We might take the week off, we might take a week and a half off, we might take just a couple of days off. But it really is based on the lifter. Robert, Bjergsen may be bae, but are you ready for Jensen to body some fools? Yeah. Jensen's impressive, but I think Bjergsen works better with his team. So I think that the bodying will be done by a young Mr. Soren Bjergsen and Sven Skeron. Sven always shows up in playoffs, so I think Jensen's about to get bodied. Just saying. I have one more set of conventionals, and the stream is holding strong, and now that I've said that, I'm sure it's going to die. Oh, it'd be terrible if I said that, and then you guys thought that I was just trying to use straps again. That's it. All right, but no more pressing questions, so we'll use that as a chance to get this last deadlift set in. Who knows, we might keep the stream going until it dies again on its own. And hang out while I'm doing my accessories, which are much even more relaxed than this is right now, because we're pretty chilled out with this stream. Oh, the stretchy pants. My camera's probably gonna die on me too. We've been pushing that battery life, fam. Come on, you can do it. Yeah. Oh well, camera died. That's unfortunate. But you guys are still here. Hey. Divier, it's insane you did a meet, then next day a deadlift meet. What a madman. Well, if they were reversed, if I did the single ply event and then had to do the raw event, I don't think I would have gone so well. But, and it didn't go great. It went pretty poorly because I did have the tear there, which wouldn't have been the case, I feel very strongly, if I hadn't done a full meet 2 days before. I think that would have been a thing. This is war. Oh man, you can love your Cloud 9 boys. That's fine. I have no ill will towards them. Maybe I would if my guys ever lost to them. Other than that first series in the split, which was unfortunate. Growing pains with Wild Turtle being back on the roster. It's okay. They figured it out. The boys figured it out. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't even... Only someone who uses straps would be a Bjergsen fan. Goodness gracious. Yeah, well... I don't know, who's even playing top lane for Cloud9 anymore? Because Impact, is he done not remembering how to play? Is that it? Men who've been confessing to strap use. No, of course not. Never. Oh, now I'm laughing. You guys are gonna think it is. It's totally not there. Jordan, are pause deadlifts the father of all deadlift accessories? It's my favorite variation of the lift. I think pause deads are very helpful in just about every weakness you could possibly have as a deadlifter, and so that's why I prefer them to just about everything else. Umar, hey Ben, been watching your videos for a while. Been itching to switch to hook grip due to bicep pain and tendonitis in my underhand elbow. Any advice for how to ease into hook grip? You pull conventional, by the way. Start out with your warm-up sets and watch the video I made not only about the hook grip but about how to tape your hands for the hook grip. That's the biggest thing, because if you jump right into it just on bare skin, you're more likely to beat yourself up, where having some tape on your thumb can really be helpful to lessen the discomfort of the knurling cutting into your thumb. It's still going to be real uncomfortable because of the pressure, but if you tape your thumbs, it might help. And then start with your warm-up sets, and then eventually start doing more work with the hook into your normal working sets, and that's it. Norman, do you even lift, bro? I'm trying. I guess that's the goal, right? Is to try to even lift, bro. Currently, I'm not, because I just did my 5th set. So, yep. What do we got next? We got Pendlay Rows, I think. Yeah. What advice would you give to a novice lifter getting back into lifting with a herniated disc? Also, wish me luck. Deadlifts are pretty much playing Russian roulette with my hernia. Oh, goodness, man. My advice would be very careful. Don't make sure that your technique is always one step ahead of the weight that you're using. When you're in a situation where you are playing kind of Russian roulette with injuries, if you have a pre-existing condition on your spine or you have something that opens you up to a higher likelihood of getting hurt doing the movement, always respect the movement no matter what weight's on the bar. Focus on being perfect in your positions, and only progress in weight when it's too easy, because you have solidified and consistently locked down your technique at any given weight. That's my advice. So it is not time to sacrifice to win, because you sacrifice too much to try and win with your deadlifts with a herniated disc, and you're going to disc it more. So utilize that novice progress by making sure that it's attached to your ability to add weight and improve week to week based off of perfecting the reps, and make sure that you are absolutely a stickler and incredibly strict and attentive to your positioning. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Stay safe. Stay safe. There's too many people that get too ahead of themselves and take themselves away, so they're not able to do this thing that can be such a beautiful pursuit. And I love it so much. And I want everybody to be able to do it and to enjoy it and grow from it and learn from it. And you don't get as much of an opportunity when you hurt yourself. So don't do that. We're going to strip the bar down to 1 plate, work on some Pendlay Rows at 3 in the morning. Ugh. Oh boy. Jordan, given your stance on straps, what is your stance on belt use? One could argue that the same principles apply to both. No, they do not. They do not at all. Straps equal grip weakness. So does belt equal core weakness? Serious question. No, it does not. Because most studies have shown that wearing a belt for most lifters actually increases their core activation by giving them a cue and something to push against. Plus, belts are legal in powerlifting competitions. Straps are not. So, like I said, I wouldn't have an issue with a strongman training with straps because it's part of their competition lift. And while I think that having a stronger grip is beneficial, you're giving yourself an advantage that you wouldn't be able to replicate in a competitive setting. And so you're setting yourself up to potentially fail and create a bigger break between what you're able to do in the gym and what you can do in a competition. Not the case with a belt, And even though I like to do beltless work myself, I don't think it's always necessary for everybody, but I don't think that wearing a belt inherently creates a core weakness. So they're not the same thing. It's a false equivalency. I see you, man. I see you with your sneaky words. Robert, Twitch fam. Also, before I get to that, if you are using a belt, can potentially help you reduce your risk of injury. For a lot of people, that it can really reduce that. Straps aren't doing so much of that, except for injury to maybe your ego, because you can't hold the bar. Robert, Twitch fam should donate a deadlift jack to Ben. He deserves it. Nah, man, I don't need a deadlift jack. I got 5-pound plates. That's it. Honestly, I get annoyed when I'm in a setting where someone has a deadlifting jack, and it's not like I get annoyed like I do when people bring up strap use for a competitive powerlifter. It's more like when I'm training in most settings, I'm trying to move pretty quickly through my warm-ups and stuff. And when someone insists on getting out the deadlift jack and moving it over and pulling up the bar and putting a plate on and putting another plate on, it's just so much longer. And it's not that hard to just roll it up on a 5-pound plate or a 2.5, or just pick it up and slide the plate on, or to take the weights off. It's part of the workout. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So no, don't send me a deadlift jack, because I won't use it and it'll be a waste. You could send it to someone else who needs it. Umar, I had a lat injury in December 2015. After the injury, it was difficult to deadlift. One of the deadlifts I got from Mike T was to reset after each pull. That's good advice. If you're losing your ability to reset at the bottom of each lift, standing up and forcing yourself to go from like a cold pull to the same kind of full setup and focus on those positions can be really helpful. Also, if you have to deadlift in an environment where you have like the hex plates that are not like round, one of my lifters has the plates that have all the multiple sides, and I told him straight up, when you do your pulls, we're going to pull out. We're not going to have a whole lot of high rep sets for you, because the bar is going to try to get away. You're going to do your set. You're going to do your rep, stand up, wherever the bar says, set up on the bar, and then do another one. You've been able to pull pain-free ever since. Maybe it might help you. Yes, yeah, that's a good advice. Weld one and have it delivered no, man, don't send me a deadlift jack. I won't use it. Riding off Jordan's question, what core exercises do you think were best for powerlifters? I made a video about this, and I still hold true to it. I think that doing correct ab wheel rollouts and hanging leg raises, anything that forces you to have your core contracted in an extended position through movement, is the best way to train your core. That, and to focus on locking your core in for spinal neutrality in the big lifts themselves. So check that. I think that was the first coaching tips with Ben video I ever made, about how to properly do those particular exercises. And that's what my answer is for an external way to train your core for a powerlifting. And then the other way is to just really focus on spinal neutrality in the big lifts you're doing, and your core should come along with the process. Okay, got ya. Timo says, I'm considering switching to hook grip, but my day job, I need to do a lot of work with my hands that require precision. So could hook grip affect this negatively? Hard to say. Like an artist or a doctor or something, like a surgeon, maybe. That's a tough one, man. Unfortunately, I think the only way that I'd be able to give that advice is to try it and see if it does. Start out light, and if you would have to do it from more of a testing perspective of like progressively try a little bit more and see how much it affects you. And then you have to measure the value of this potentially beneficial training tool versus your job and your livelihood, which a lot of people, the right choice is to pick your job and your livelihood over the lifting thing. This is my job and livelihood, so it makes sense for me to prioritize it over some other things. Jordan, I can't hold the bar, Ben. Stop oppressing me. DBZ Rules 95. It is 3:03 in the morning for me right now. We started this way later than I intended. The stream started when I could work out. I didn't start the stream later. I started the workout much later because I was gone all day. So, and can't afford, because I'm going to be gone on Friday again, taking care of my girlfriend who's having surgery on her hand. She was in an intramural soccer league and got her pinky broken, and I am a pacifist and I am not an aggressive person, but whoever did that to to the person I love is very lucky I was not there when he broke her hand. Yep. But she's going to get surgery to get her finger healed up, and so I'm going to go and be there for her, so I couldn't potentially push this workout back because I need to make sure that I was there for her on that day. Divya Bendari, what's your take on tempo work? I think it's great. I think that most lifters try to rush their movements and rely on momentum and rely on built up kinetic force and energy. And you want to use kinetic energy and build up kind of a stretch reflex and force through your movements, but you should only ever move as fast as you can perfectly control the weight and have your positions. So a lot of the time I think it's beneficial to force someone to focus on their positioning and to focus throughout the lift and not to turn off their brain and just try to move the bar as fast as possible. So I think tempo work forces you to be patient, it forces you to have higher focus, and it forces you to find the right positions and to actually control the weight. And I think that's much more beneficial than moving a weight quickly without having control of it. Jordan, don't send Ben a deadlift jack. Send him something he'll actually use, such as straps, versa grips, garage cell hooks. Oh my gosh. Never, ever. If you guys want to send me something I'll actually use, how about a competition bench so I can stop using that piece of garbage back there? No, I'm very fortunate to have what I do have. So that's false frustration of having a bad bench. But that's definitely the first thing on my list. If I had money, I wouldn't waste it on something like a jack or straps. I would waste it on a bench. Okay, DBZ. Hopefully the surgery goes well. And Robert, yeah, the surgery goes. I hope so too. I worry about her because she's a strong person emotionally, and she works really hard. She works 2 full-time jobs, and busts her hump to try and do things for other people, and so. Seeing her in pain is my least favorite thing in the world. I would rather pull with straps every day for the rest of my life than see her hurting. So, all right, it's away from that subject though. That's not the positive feels. She's napping right now, so she's doing okay. But Umar Aidan, I'm gonna, while you finish out the rest of that thought, Umar, I'm going to do a set of Pendlay Rows, or attempt a set of Pendlay Rows. I don't know how this is gonna go. So bad at those. That's where the deadlift leverages really don't actually do much for my favor. The money spent on straps is money well spent. Ugh. Triggers. Umar, I don't think you remember this, Ben, but one of my lifters messaged you on Facebook to explain how much of a fangirl I am of yours. Maybe. I'm awful. If they messaged me on my athlete Facebook, for the longest time, I didn't even realize that thing got messages. So it might have gotten lost. And on my personal Facebook, I just have, I'm terrible. I'm so bad at that. But I appreciate that you are a supporter of what I do. That means a lot to me. And I'm glad that we get to share this little visit time, even if there's, even if it's over a live stream. Timo, thanks for the awesome answers. Well, thanks for the awesome questions. And for the trolley questions. It's all the fun. Boxer Ross, have you ever tried reverse grip bench? I haven't, but after Greg talked about that the first time he did it, he almost hit like a all-time PR. It really kind of made me wonder. I'm scared to do it. I'm scared to attempt it without having someone like a consistent training partner to make sure I don't kill myself. Because I feel like I'd have to know if it was beneficial for me to work and potentially an option. I would need to work up heavy enough that it would be in that range of like kill yourself kind of weight, where you could chop your head off if you lost control. Alexandro, thoughts on Olympic lifting? Would you ever do it yourself? I respect the crap out of Olympic lifters. I've tried it in the past in terms of just for myself, and I have such a I frequently injured myself when I would try. My elbows and my shoulders just did not appreciate that stuff. I think that my leverages are really, really poor for Olympic weightlifting, and my interest in it is not high enough to try and overcome some of those issues. So I think it'd be possible for me to be, with years and years and years and years of work with a very skilled coach, I think that I could become relatively proficient, but I love powerlifting. And as much as I respect Olympic lifting, even just knowing how uncomfortable and how awkward high bar squatting is for me compared to a low bar squat, and how much forward torso lean I need to keep the bar centered over my back, I have a feeling that Olympic lifting is not what my body is really most likely to excel at. Eric, wow, nothing like getting up at 5 a.m. to get my day started and see Ben still lifting. Oh, one of my roommates the other day when I was doing this noticed, or one of my old roommates he's in Montana now, but he was watching the first live stream I did at this garage, and he went to bed, and then he woke up, and I was still live streaming, and he told me that it's like, wow, your late night lifting tendencies are going to get way worse if you're over there doing this, but I think it's fun. I enjoy it. Umar, his name is Garrett Bodacy Bailey. He messaged you in February or something. Oh, no, I know Garrett. Are you Garrett's coach? Are you the one who coached Garrett to that, he had that 777 pull, that meet where it was his best meet ever? Yeah, I remember that. I commented back to him. He said something silly like, I'm just trying to keep up with you guys, even though he out deadlifted everybody. No, I like Garrett. If you are who I think you are, then awesome. I'm really honored by that. He spoke very highly of you. And he seems like a super cool guy. Garrett seems like a super cool dude. I like him a lot. Harold, do you still get muscle soreness after years of lifting? Absolutely. I guess my favorite way to put it, or one of the ways that I think it's most easily understood, is that it never, just like with the hook grip, it never stops hurting, but you get much more accustomed to the discomfort. You get used to the discomfort. You get used to it hurting to where it doesn't affect you as much. Your tolerance goes up. So the pain doesn't go down, your tolerance goes up. Squatting a max is always painful. It's very uncomfortable to put the highest weight you've ever had on your back and then go down and pretend to sit in an imaginary chair and then stand back up. The hook grip is always uncomfortable, but you get better and more accustomed to it, so it doesn't cause the same sort of kind of pull back from you emotionally and physically. So yes, if you're looking to stick it out until it doesn't hurt anymore, then this is definitely not the pursuit that you want to stick with, because it doesn't stop. And the better you get, the more you have to push to continue getting better across the board. Alex, I remember watching you dabble around with Oli shoes on and off. How did you find it? Every time I've used them, I've come back and felt stronger in flats. To be completely honest, I think if your ankle mobility and your glute mobility allows you to hit depth with flats, it makes sense to me that most people should be stronger without having a raised heel because you're less likely to get pitched forward. However, that is obviously not the case with some people. So I still have them back there. Actually, I'll grab them. I'll show you guys the shoes I used. So these are my Risto White Thunders. These are old bowling shoe. And then I got these from one of my coaches when I visited Barbell Brigade. Hanny Gesarelli gave me these. They're the Fast Lift. What are they? These things. And I used these for a while. And I found them beneficial at times. My bodyweight squat is great with these, but when I load a bar on my back, I tend to get pushed forward. So that's it. Jordan, I'm going to do another set of these, and then I'll answer your next question. So bad at those. All I want to do is just swing and use all this momentum, and it's just not the point. All right, Jordan wears straps on the reverse grip. I'm just gonna start. Anytime I see the S word in your comments, I'm gonna skip them. Amara, yes, you're his coach. I've been coaching him since January. Well, that's awesome. Then I do know who you are, sir. And yes, thank you so much for the kind words that you told your lifter, who he then conveyed to me. It means a lot. I'm excited. I think if Garrett's going to be down if you guys are going to be down at Nationals in October, and we should totally meet in real life person. Manu, loving the streams, Ben. Thanks for being awesome. Thank you for visiting. I think I've actually had a drop in the channel. I don't think it's because of the streams. I think it's because the lack of actual content. So that's why tomorrow, once I force myself to wake up, I'm going to be focusing so hard on fixing that and getting this computer to stop punking out on me. And see. Harold, Ben, have you ever considered steroids? Absolutely. I considered steroids. When I was much younger, it was way more tempting. But honestly, the further I've gotten, and every time I've run into a plateau that I've been able to overcome, even if it's taken years to overcome it, I've gotten less interested in steroids. And the reasons that I gave the last time someone asked me this I have a few. First off, I have a personal phobia of needles. I had a spinal tap when I was a kid, and needles freak me out. And even when I was working on an ambulance, I could handle needles with other people, but with myself, it takes a lot of, anytime I get blood drawn or anything, I have to go to a special place in my head, and I don't think I'd enjoy that kind of relationship with needles. Second of all, I have a real issue with the legality. I don't do anything in my life that is against the law. Whether or not I agree with laws, I still abide by them. I don't speed when I drive. I used to. I don't anymore. So legality is a big issue with me. And then the idea that they're expensive. I don't have a whole lot of money, not in terms of expendable income. I feel very fortunate to live the life I live and be able to do what I get to do. But I don't live a very lavish life. I don't have a whole lot in terms of excess. And I think that the cost of that would be pretty insane for me. And then the last thing is in terms of my personal fulfillment and the joy that I get from this, I would never want to, where some people would come at it and say their reasoning for enhancing or using chemicals to help them further their progress is they might get to the end of their life and say, I don't want to look back on my life saying, what could I have achieved with this? I would hate to get to that point after having used something and wondered what I would have been able to achieve without them. And I don't think that's everyone's stance or should be everyone's stance. Some people have different life decisions than I would make. I told myself from a very young age that I would wait until I was 28 to have that conversation. I'm 27 now, and I'm much further away from being convinced that that would be the path for me than I was even when I was like 20. So the further I've gotten, the longer I've come, the further I've come, the less interested in using chemical enhancement I have become. So those are 4, like if I was to write an essay on why I don't personally feel like they're very tempting for me anymore, that's why. Umar, by the way, you should sign up for Open Nationals. We bring in out some big boys there. Open is in like Equipped Nationals, because nope, I'm not trying to figure out how to use a squat suit and a bench shirt for myself. Especially, I don't have anybody in this area who's really super familiar with equipped lifting, and I'd still be training by myself in a garage. If you're talking about Classic Nationals in Orlando in October, I'll see you guys down there. That's the life I'm about to be living. And that's also going to be a pretty stacked class. I'll be honored to be sharing the platform with those big boys. Jordan, how old are you, man? You sound young. I just got a squeaky voice. I'm 27, be 28 in October. So I'm an old soul. I have a young tenor voice, and an old man viewpoint of the world, I guess. Jordan, have you ever been at a stage in terms of strength where you thought you were very close to genetic potential, but years on realized you were very wrong? Yep, absolutely. I was stuck at a 733 deadlift for 3.5 years. That was pretty mentally taxing, because it wasn't that I was stuck because I wasn't trying my hardest to move past it. I was stuck there for a very long time. Jordan, I'll stop with the S-word comments now. Yeah, good. You know what's up. Umar, yes, we will definitely meet up at Raw Nationals. I might be competing in the 83 class since it's my first year as a junior lifter. Awesome, man. Do it. I think I'm going to miss the 93s a little bit. 105s are... I'm hoping... I'm being honest with myself. I think Eric and Hanny think that I'll have no problem filling out the class. I think it'll take me at least another year to be comfortable filling out the class. I weighed 218 at the Arnold, and 231 is just so much more than 205. And the heaviest I've ever been was like 228, but I was sloppy and felt horrible. So I don't want to feel that way again. I think that 215 to 220 is like where my body wants to be. And so 231 is pushing that. So we'll see. We'll see how this year I'm personally viewing it as a chance to learn and grow and experience more on this the higher level stage, and then next year is the year that I'm really expecting myself to experience a lot of the progress that comes from going up a class. Divya, so many people are online coaching these days. What do you think about it? More pros and cons? I think that honestly, a lot of lifters, a lot of fitness personalities see that it's something that they'd like to do. They'd like to coach. They want to focus on, they want to live that dream of like, this is my income, right? And they want to do that. I don't think it's malicious. I don't think that most of them are coming at it saying like, I want to lie to people and steal them and mislead them and steal money from them. I think a lot of people honestly think that they have more information to give and a better understanding than they actually do. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. The better you get at something, the more you realize that you don't know and you have more to learn. And I was way more cocky in my ability to know everything when I was in my late teens and early 20s than I am now in my late 20s. And I still know that I have a lot to learn. Every time that you have an experience in your life where you come up to something where you thought you had a really good understanding of it, and you break through a barrier, a mental or a physical barrier, and you recognize what that took and how much more there is to learn and know and grow from, I think that is really what a lot of the younger people who are kind of flooding the market of online coaching haven't recognized within themselves. And so I don't think it's malicious. I don't think they're bad people. I think there's a lot of people who haven't reached the qualifications to know how to best coach people. And I think that programming is super simple. So I think a lot of online coaches are really just programming for people and don't understand what it is to be a good coach. And a coach requires emotional connection and emotional support and understanding the way that a lifter's mind works, in my opinion. And a good coach needs the experience with dealing with people, not so much just as a program bot. And a lot of them are just doing what they think is the goal of their life, and I wouldn't discourage them from trying it. I think that the way that the free market works is when you're successful and you're good at things, then people get your product, and it kind of measures itself out. People find out real fast when someone's not a good coach. And I think that, again, programming isn't the most important thing in the world. So if you're getting programming from someone who doesn't know a whole lot about lifting, but it's making progress for you, then I think that you're still benefiting from that. When coaching and bad coaching decisions are hurting lifters, that's what I have more of an issue with. And so the way I try to combat that is by giving out as much free information as possible and trying to improve my own coaching so that I can combat it through a positive example and through the energy and the good things and the information that I try to put out in the world. So that's my answer. Alex, stay natty, Ben. You're my natty hero. Oh, man, I appreciate that. Box Dress, ever considered coming to Australia? I consider a lot of things, man. I don't have a whole lot in terms of expendable income. I think I'm a really good coach and a really crappy businessman, so I don't have a whole lot in terms of money to go travel and do all these things. Divya, what helped you get out of that 733 plateau? Honestly, there was a lot of it was just time. I just needed to continue to refine things and had to kind of start over and rework on things and approach my training from a lot of different angles. And I think the things that I did to fix that wouldn't be the things I would need to do to fix the next plateau that I run into. So that's really it. Jordan, that's really reassuring to hear. I'm way off my strength potential, but I'll keep that in mind. If I'm stuck at a plateau, time for another set. Oh, good call. Oh, man, these are even less motivated to do than the... You're totally right, though. Not just because you told me to, but because I agree with your conclusion. I taught you young grasshopper. I get it, sensei. All right. Oh, the strap jokes, you guys are killing me. Alex, I'll be right back for that one. This is the longest the stream's gone tonight without shutting down. The computer must like me. Alex, would have been even funnier if you actually meant the strap work held them out of the plateau. It would not be that. That would not be the answer. Honestly, it was the biggest thing. When I was stuck in that plateau was like one of the biggest pushes for myself of swallowing the ego and doing more submaximal training. I think my ability to recover from the workloads I was doing is that I was training my lifts too heavy and I was losing my positioning and not enforcing better positional habits. And that was around the time when my focus went from working really hard and trying to get stronger to really, really, really intentionally closing in on positional integrity. And then it's still, for years after that, it's always been a point of contention within myself of committing to sit within the discomfort that comes with improving a position, even if it's pretty good. It's really hard to do. So one day Ben will do a set so he can get closer to bedtime. I've done so many sets. We're going to call this the night where we reset the sleep schedule. We're going to stay up late enough that if I wake up tomorrow and I'm tired, I'll be able to fall asleep tomorrow night. That's the goal. Fingers crossed, because I don't have to train tomorrow. My buddy Ben Seath is going to come over, and he's going to squat, and I'm just going to help him out. But I don't have to train tomorrow. I'm going to work on editing videos, and then I'm going to try my best to get in bed by 12:30 at night tomorrow night. Fingers crossed. I believe. Jordan, if you had to compare yourself to one Lord of the Ring character, who would you think you're most similar to? I think Gandalf. Have you seen the video? Oh my gosh. He's a young Gandalf, a Yangolf. I don't know if you're actually... Okay. My favorite YouTube video of all time is... And it's totally biased because it's totally about me. My favorite video of all time. Which maybe this is what you guys are referring to. Or maybe you're just on point with... Okay. That's Abdullah Zainab on Matt Ogus's channel. And it's just called Benrice Shoutout. So anybody watching this after the fact, anybody who's made it this far into the stream, even though it's gone down like 4 or 5 times, and look up a video called on Matt Ogus's channel, or Flex for All 2, called Benrice Shoutout by Abdullah Zainab. And that's my favorite video of all time. Because every time I watch it, it inspires me to try and be the person that Abdullah is describing me as. Jordan, I'm on point with most things. Oh man, it's an 8-minute long video of an Australian guy using frequent use of the C word in the positive connotation about how awesome I am. And I definitely don't think that I could live up to the person that he's describing, but after watching that video, I will attest that so much of the person I try to be lines up with how he sees me or saw me at that time. And I think it's hilarious. I laugh the whole time. Robert Pauling, Ben, I remember my question from earlier before the stream shut down. How much more do you find you get out of deadlift with a Texas deadlift bar versus an Eleiko and Ohio power bar? I know you mentioned it before. 1 week out from the Arnold Classic, I deadlifted 760 pounds at like a 7.5 or an 8 RPE on this Ohio power bar. At the Arnold Classic on an Ohio power bar, I deadlifted 750 raw. My hand opened up twice after missing 767 or 770 and then 780 in the pro deadlift. The week after that, I pulled 800 pounds on the Texas deadlift bar at like a 10.1 RPE. It was an absolute max. I think 801 pounds. I wouldn't have been able to lock it out. So, based off of that math, within a 2-week window, I think that I probably could have done another 10 to 15, maybe even 20 pounds on the stiff bar on that 760 night because I was just on fire. And so I would say anywhere from 20 to 40 pounds. And even more if you get more practice with a Texas deadlift bar. So I think if you go the other way, if you train on the deadlift bar, then go to a stiff bar, it hinders you way more because you're so unused to the position at the start is just different. The position at the start of when you go from a stiff bar to a deadlift bar, you get the first like 2 inches of your lift free. And since I'm usually get the extra help off the ground helps me a lot, I think that I get a fair amount out of a deadlift bar. But going the other way, if you go from having that extra flex in the bar to back to a stiff bar, I think it absolutely neuters your pull. I think it'll make like an 80-pound difference. So I think it's different. Going up, you get a little bit of a benefit. Going the other way, it kills your pull. Do you think Ohio power bar get whippier with time, or they're good? I think they're good. I think that any equipment you use is eventually going to get worn down. But that happens with anything. It happens with your knee sleeves. It happens with your elbow sleeves. I think if you had it like at a meet and it was getting like, if it was the only Eleiko bar or the only Ohio power bar that was being used at a meet, then it's gonna get worn out. PDBR, are you cutting for so? Oh no, the stream, not again. Oh Come on, you're killing me, Smalls. All right, guys, that's actually probably a good time to close it down. As much as I'd like to keep going, I can finish this stuff up off stream. And if it's going to start playing this game with our in minds, I don't want to put you guys through that again. So last round of questions. If anybody has any. Stream, come on, don't do this to me, baby. Baby, no. Killing me. No, we're gonna call it. I'm not cutting for the summer because I'm trying to gain weight into the 231s over a 2-year period. Next minute, Ben's upload physique update. Yeah. All right, friends. Good night, everybody. Before the stream kills us off, before we want it to, let's show it what's up and end it before it can end us. So thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you're watching this, I greatly appreciate it. Love you all. Have a wonderful night. And I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Expect an upload of an actual video tomorrow and then the next day potentially. And then another stream on Saturday. So Saturday afternoon Pacific Standard Time, maybe early evening is when the next stream will be. Okay? You guys have a good night. Oh, you silly boys. Silly boys. Good night, everybody. All right. 3, 2, 1. We out. Peace.